Hi, I'm Chris Bou Saeed, Los Angeles child endangerment attorney. Welcome to CBS Law, where we deliver results, not promises. I'd like to talk to you about child endangerment cases. First, I'll go over the most common child endangerment or child abuse charge. Second, I'll go over some common sense measures you can take if you find yourself being investigated or charged with child endangerment. And third, I'll go over some common defenses we employ every day at CBS Law for clients charged with child endangerment or abuse. First, the most common child endangerment or child abuse charge is the same. It's a violation of Penal Code Section 273A. Now, that charge can be charged as a felony or as a misdemeanor. In either scenario, the elements of the crime are the same. Child endangerment or child abuse is charged when someone who has care or custody of a child either places them in a situation that could cause physical injury or mental suffering to a child, or second, with a child in their care or custody, inflict unjustifiable physical pain or mental suffering on the child. Now, what would determine whether someone is charged with child endangerment as a felony or as a misdemeanor are two things. First, the extent of the injuries on the child. If the child's injuries get more severe, it's going to be more likely that the person charged will be with a felony, not a misdemeanor. Second will be the suspect's criminal history. In other words, have they previously been convicted of crimes before, especially crimes related to child endangerment or child abuse? Now, the consequences of a felony charge of child endangerment, if it's charged as a felony, are a sentencing triad. In other words, upon conviction, someone would face a low term of 2 years in state prison, a middle term of 4 years in state prison, or a high term of 6 years in state prison. All of those sentences would be served at halftime, which means the most someone would actually serve in prison would be half of the amount that the judge sentences them to. If it's charged as a misdemeanor, then the maximum term of imprisonment upon conviction would be 364 days in the county jail at halftime. Now, some common sense measures you can take if you find yourself being charged or investigated for child endangerment. Well, first, do not talk to anyone about the allegations. Don't talk to the police. Don't talk to family members. Certainly don't talk to your accuser. And don't post anything online. Some common defenses that we see in child endangerment cases. Well, first and foremost, the vast majority of these cases involve some type of family dysfunction or conflict. We often see divorce, child custody proceedings, mental health or mental illness issues, or drug or alcohol abuse. We then utilize investigators to explore each of those scenarios to be able to show any motives or biases or agendas that an accuser or witness may harbor that they conveniently didn't share with law enforcement. Or we often see there are no independent witnesses. In other words, it's just a mandatory reporter noticed something on a child like a bruise or a scratch, and then they, by law, have to mandatorily report it to law enforcement. And then, of course, law enforcement just generally assumes the worst. Now, if you find yourself ever being arrested for child endangerment or child abuse, even if there are no injuries, like, for example, driving under the influence with a child in the back seat, or placing the child in a situation that could have caused them injury or unjustified mental suffering, the police will arrest you and classify the arrest as a felony violation of Penal Code Section 273A. Now, the factors that are actually going to be used by the prosecution to determine whether to charge this as a felony or as a misdemeanor are going to be, again, the extent of injuries to the child, and then the suspect's prior criminal history. You may wonder then, in a case where there are no injuries to the child, or there is no prior criminal history of the suspect, why the police classified it as a felony violation. The answer is because of stat inflation. It allows the police at the end of the year to be able to say, we made X number of felony arrests versus misdemeanor arrests. But in the vast majority of cases, certainly when there's no injury, those, even though they were classified as a felony arrest, are more often than not charged as misdemeanor violations of child endangerment. Things that you can do if you find yourself being investigated or charged with child endangerment. First and foremost, don't talk to the police. Don't talk to the accuser. Don't talk to family members. Don't talk to social media. Don't talk to anyone about the allegations. Second, most importantly, call CBS Law so we can get started investigating not only the facts of your case, but the surrounding circumstances that led to the allegations, so we can start building your defense and clearing your good name. So call CBS Law now at 213-800-8005, and together we'll get your life back.